Welcome to Scoop World Order. It's a wonderful Monday, 10-0 Monday for the Bucks. The Bucks have the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and it will be a rout for sure. And then it is on to the big one. Are there future sanctions coming from the Big Ten? We got a little update today that is really spicy and exciting, so we're going to get into that. As always, we're very thankful, very grateful for you guys showing up. If you guys are really having something that you're dying to have answered, our super chat system is up. And if you guys super chat us, it automatically gets answered immediately. So we stop the show, answer your questions. Again, it's been a fantastic system. So thank you guys. You guys have been bringing the heat with the questions. So I always enjoy giving you guys what you guys want. So if you guys got something, send us a super chat. If you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click the little alert bell. Again, we appreciate you guys. This has been an explosive growth mode for us. So it's been awesome. Love kicking with you guys every single night. We bring the heat for you guys, and we're always ready to rock. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Give me your projections for the Minnesota game. Who do you need? Who needs to step up? Would you set guys? Put it down in the comments down below. But I'm gonna get right to my boy Nevadabuck. Nevada. Tony Petitti is like one of the most interesting guys in the world. You have fantastic context through him, through some of the networks that you know. Talk a little about some of the additional sanctions that could come to Michigan that they're evaluating, because like Michigan is in one of the strangest modes I've ever seen in terms of deflecting and basically like acting like they did absolutely. It's like they have like the knife and the gun and the bullet casings and blood everywhere, and they're just like, nope, wasn't us. Like, we didn't do it. How could that ever be us? But it's been a very interesting road. What are your thoughts on it so far, and what additionally could come to Michigan?
Well, yeah, this is like playing Clue, where you've got like Jim Harbaugh with the lead pipe in the conservatory or something like that, and like you're playing with the clue cards out, so you can also everybody sees them and go like, "Hey, it's Jim Harbaugh in the conservatory with the lead pipe." And like, nope, that wasn't it. That doesn't work. You're like, wait a second, I can see the cards, man. I can see.
We just had a clue. We just had a clue reset. That's my favorite game of all time. Like Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Scarlet, like Jim Harbaugh with the Connor Stallions with the video camera in A deck at Ohio Stadium. Like, that's a great reset. No, but yeah, they have all the cards up. They're still denying what's in the little yellow envelope. But what are some additional sanctions that could come to Michigan?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about a couple things. You know, we posted on our board today. I sent a link to the Big Ten sportsmanship policy. Now, you've heard a lot about the Big Ten sportsmanship policy, but if you haven't read the Big Ten sportsmanship policy, do it. One of the core values and beliefs of this show are we're trying to make you guys smarter, better, more educated fans. So you're not the dumb fans that are out there saying stupid stuff that you'll hear other places. We're trying to make you guys the smart fans. So if you don't have a link to our board, if you're not on our board, first of all, you should be on our board. But if you're not, just Google Big Ten sportsmanship policy. It's on a PDF, and you can read through the Big Ten sportsmanship policy, and it kind of walks you through the potential penalties that could happen. Now, one of the things that happened, and one of the big areas of disconnect where the fans were disappointed, I was disappointed and frankly surprised from, was on the punishment that came to Harbaugh limited to games. And really where that came from was, if you read the policy was originally written in 1974. It's been updated several times since then, as recently as 2022. But in the policy, specifically in the minor policies category, it talks about that the suspension's good for up to 2 contests. And then on the major policy, it's silent. It just talks about it can be more, but the belief from the lawyers was that because it was mentioned as contests in the minor policy, that was the intention of the major policy, where they could add more contests, but it didn't expand to practices, other things at facilities. And if there were any suspensions that were going to be, beyond contests, it would have to be done in conjunction and partnership with the school. And because we know that Michigan's not, cooperating in any of this, that's why you got 3 games. That's why it was a joint committee handed down punishment. But that's why it was limited to contests and not things, was the specific Big Ten policy. So we want to direct our fire, if Petitti screws up, we will lead you there and try to burn it down and talk about that. But in this case, I really think he was hamstrung by a poorly worded policy and by a lawyer's review of this that said, if you expand beyond contests, that you're really, leaving yourself open for legal review and a potential reversal on that. So that's number one issue. The second issue is what's next and what can happen. And what's happening right now is there's an NCAA expedited review of the Michigan situation. And one of the things that they're looking for specifically are direct links between Connor Stallions and his little caper and other members of the Michigan staff. And if they can, and that would be, emails, expense reports, other types of communication, written or otherwise. But the challenge is that Michigan is not cooperating right now. Now, if you read in the sportsmanship policy, if you read the NCAA policy, they're required to cooperate with this thing. And a lack of cooperation is taken as an admission of guilt. So it's really getting spicy in terms of if they can prove the links. I am telling you, the Big Ten would immediately move to disqualify those people, would be coordinators, other staff members, from participating in contests as well. And ultimately, we all know that the ultimate end game on this thing is smoking whole Michigan, Harbaugh 5-year show cause, multiple year bowl ban, at least 2 years bowl ban. But in the short term, they can prove those links. Look for the Big Ten to do more if they can do, because they don't have an investigative arm. They've got to rely solely upon the NCAA for their investigation. But if they can prove the links, look for more suspensions.
Yeah, I think again, I know that they're dumb, but I don't know how dumb they truly are. The fact that there's this like full electric paper trail of tickets and Venmos and whatever, like I don't think they would be dumb enough to put like an expense reimbursement for like tickets on their expense report, because again, like the people that write, the people that are the accountants in the athletic department would be like, why are you guys going to all these games? Like, I mean, that would be like the biggest red flag in history to me. But again, there's been so many. I mean, Connor Stallions went to a nationally televised game wearing Central Michigan gear on the sideline, right next to the head coach, right where the camera pans to. So I don't put anything past the stupidity of this guy. Got our first super chat. Appreciate this. Everybody versus the cheaters up north. Those cheaters up north. I agree. Appreciate that, JR, my dog. But it's just, I think it's going to be exquisite. Now, here's the real question, and I want you guys that are in the chat to holler at me on this one. Do you want Jim Harbaugh on the sideline when we play them? Because again, he's the head coach. He built the whole staff versus you get Fat Albert out there, the guy that's the current guy, Sharon Strawberry Moore, as the guy. I mean, is there like an excuse? I don't think it goes hard as an asterisk if you beat Sharon Moore versus Jim Harbaugh. Nevada, what say you?
Well, look, I've said this before, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I want Harbaugh on the sideline. I do want Harbaugh on the sideline. But do I love the distraction? Do I love the fact that he's talking about, I'm going to appear at the court hearing on Friday? And look, just whatever. And I am telling you right now, mark this down. They are scared to death of this at Maryland game. They are scared to death of the. I got that from my best. Yes, I got that from my absolute best source right before we came on the air. They're like, look, I mean, obviously at Penn State, humongous game for them. Obviously, the Ohio State game looming. And then you've got this sneaky little Maryland game in between at Maryland. And Maryland is such a schizophrenic team. They come at you sometimes good. We've seen Ohio State struggle up there mightily in the recent past. Michigan is terrified of this game. Terrified. So if you're a bettor, I'm taking Maryland into the points this weekend. What's
the spread on this one?
I don't even know.
It's got to be like 35-40, man. Maryland's dead dogs basketball season out there, man.
No, somebody should post that on the comments, but because I literally got this right before he came on. I literally got the quote. They're like Nevada, Michigan, and I'm talking about the top people. I'll tell you, this came right from Harbaugh. I'm just going to say it. This came right from Harbaugh. I'm telling you. I am telling you, and you guys can say, "Oh, Nevada." You guys know some of the people that I know and I talk to and stuff. This came right from Harbaugh, where he's saying, "I am terrified of this game this week at Michigan, or excuse me, at Maryland." So, look, it makes sense why they would be concerned about that, given it's hard to get up 3 weeks in a row for games. And yeah, so I look, anything that causes terror for them. And now they've got Harbaugh at court hearings on Friday. They're not sure if he's going to be there on Saturday. And look, just, hey, bring it on. Whatever happens, bring it on. But I want to make one more point about potential sanctions for Michigan. Because Michigan has chosen to appeal what's an unappealable again, read the sportsmanship policy. It's unappealable. They've done that. Now what they bring potentially into play for them from an institute, because all the Big Ten sanctions go against the institution. The institution is deemed responsible for all the parties being entered. That's different than the NCAA. With the NCAA, the responsibility lies with the head coach. With the Big Ten, it lies with the institution. So with the institution, now you bring into the play potentially withholding of television money or bowl money. So there are a couple of big hammers that Petiti has on them that are institution-wide penalties that would go beyond the NCAA stuff, and that would be bowl money and television money, which, again, doesn't really matter to the fans, but I guarantee to Michigan that could be really significant.
Oh, my God. That's the most – I mean, you got to understand – when Ohio State had the COVID year where we had 0 fans in attendance because the Big Ten commissioner was an idiot and he was stupid, we had to take out a loan from the rest of the school to make ends meet because that football money and the TV money, like it's all that important. Like it's just like there's not a lot of wiggle room when you have a huge athletic department. So every nickel counts when you're running a monstrosity like Michigan or Ohio State. So yeah, you take that TV money, man, especially with the re-up that they just got. I mean, that money could buy a lot of stuff. You go to Miami about 1 million times, go buy about 1 million iPhones. Tet offense said he thought 18-5 was a spread. Would you lay that, Nevada? I don't know, man. I mean, Maryland, man, those guys, they've got, Talia, the QB, but it's just like they've been, since Ohio State took their soul, they were like 5-0, they came to the shoot, and then, Ryan Day took them to the O real quick, and it was, I mean, they've been in a tailspin ever since, but I don't know. I mean, I could see them being scared of it because, again, Ohio State, like this will probably be the highest rated Ohio State Michigan game of all since 06 for sure. Maybe the second highest rated of all time. I don't know if anything will ever top 06, but it's just I don't know. Like I see the trap game deal. I just don't know if Maryland's up for it just because they're so down. I mean, they've been getting beat to death. But I think it'll be really interesting. I mean, I can't wait to watch that game. I think it's going to be it'll be interesting to see, what Michigan shows. Again, their offense is pretty basic. It's not really that tough. They just, pile drive forward. And honestly, I love defending that. Like when we used to have our dudes, like when I used to watch our defense in like 07, I loved playing teams like that. We played like Wisconsin and those power running games because our guys, we'd shut those down. Like the spread, we weren't great against the spread back then, but the spread wasn't as prevalent as it is now. Another super chat, KC, my dude, in here every night. Appreciate you, my man. Is Knowles a good recruiter and will learn how to be a position coach next year? I wish. Will Trey's injuries affect his draft stock and cause him to not go as high as he should? I hope Hairball is there. Nevada, I'll let you take, is Knowles a good recruiter and will Laurinaitis be a position coach next year?
I think Laurinaitis will be a position coach next year. And here's what I'll say about Knowles recruiting or whatever. Look at the defensive talent that they've gotten in this recruiting cycle. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's been unbelievable. So somebody's getting those guys. I mean, like I heard for years, and I don't want to pick up a scab, but I'm going to do it because you guys forced me to do it. But I heard all these years, Stud doesn't recruit anybody. Recruit anybody. And he recruited 5 stars in 5 straight recruiting cycles. Now he's gone, and now we don't get 5 stars anymore. And we're just flipping a 3-star Van Sickle or Van Blickel or Rip Van Winkle or whatever it is. But that's great. And I think the guy could be a star. I'm excited about every guy. So don't get me wrong on this. But don't tell me that the guy that's in charge, and you're not making that point, but you have to be a good recruiter if you're getting good recruits. That's just the nature of the beast. You are what your record says you are. So if we were not recruiting high 5 stars at every position on defense right now, then I'd be like, okay, well, maybe Jim Knowles. But I mean, they're doing it. And so whether they're doing it by accident, whether they're doing it by luck, whether Jim Knowles sleeps through the recruiting meetings, whether he's got apnea, whether he's got a bad back, whether he's not attractive, whatever it is, they're landing 5 stars. So I'm all about results. I've never been about artistic impression. I'm all about the scoreboard, and I think the scoreboard would indicate that whether he's a good recruiter or not, he's ultimately responsible for it, and they're performing. So it's great. So I give him an A+. That's final answer.
Hey, that's where I'm at. I mean, as long as we're balling on defense, like, look, if he's not some whiz bang recruiter, like I've seen guys that are amazing recruiters, you know, they're silver tongued devils, and then all of a sudden their guys on the field stink. I mean, Jimbo Fisher pulled the greatest class of all time, and he just got whacked today. I mean, the highest rated class in the history of college football 2 years ago, and he got whacked because he didn't develop them. So, and those guys are all about to hit the portal and be free agents. But, you know, I mean, in terms of him being a good recruiter, I mean, it's good enough. I mean, in the age of the transfer portal, like recruiting has never been less relevant because you can go out and get a ready-made stud linebacker to come in next year. You know, if we lose Tommy and Steele potentially, like you can go get a guy in the portal that's dying to be a Buckeye. And you know, should James Lawrence be a position coach? No, he should be the special teams coordinator next year. Like I'd make that move like today and make him the special teams guy because James, you have to understand, James was a 3-time All-American linebacker that started his career covering kickoffs, covering punts as a freshman. You know, if you're a linebacker and you're a freshman, good freshman linebackers do not redshirt. They're covering kickoffs. They're on punt team. They're on punt return. They're on all 4 of the special teams, the core 4. And James was excellent at all of those. And then when all of a sudden his number was called in 05, or excuse me, his freshman year at the end of 05, you know, when Bobby got his leg broke by Jake Long, like, you know, he got in there for some stuff. And, you know, we went nickel for most of the game against Notre Dame, but, you know, he still played some there. But, you know, James, you know, he was ready to go on special teams. You know, Parker Fleming, you know, again, I'm not here to just dog out Parker Fleming like it's the most fashionable thing to do in the world right now, but he was a quarterback at Marist College. He was like a, you know, third string quarterback at a small school. So he probably never played special teams in his entire life. James was an ace at it. So he knows the ins and outs. He knows how to coach it. Again, James is a dynamic kid, ultra bright, fantastic leader. I mean, he's got all the attributes of like a rocket ship superstar head coach. He just needs to be put on. And again, I think right now, when he's still kind of learning the game from a coaching standpoint, the most important thing he could do is just be that ace recruiter. Kind of like Heartline. Like Heartline, when he was learning coaching, like he was already, you know, a personable guy, a smart guy, you know, played for the Dolphins, played in the league. You know, I mean, that playing in the league thing is huge with high school kids because every high school, JJ Smith, why does he want to come to Ohio State, not Florida State, not Miami, not anywhere else? Because he wants to go to the league. That's it. He wants to be here for 3 years and go. Same with Ennis Tate. Like, and Brian Hartline has a potion right now where, oh, you see Garrett Wilson last night, Sunday Night Football? Yeah, you see Olave, you see Marvin's about to be a top 5 pick. You know, you see Emeka, you see Jackson Smith-Njigba. Like, it's not theory with Brian Hartline, it's testimony. And that's what it would be with James if we made him, you know, a linebackers coach. I mean, guys would want to go play for him because, you know, he's a great motivator. He's ultra intelligent, and he's going to get you right. So in 3 years, you're ready to jump to the league and take care of your family. Will Trey's injuries affect his draft stock and cause him not to go as high as he should? I'll start with this, then I'll throw it to you, Nevada. I don't think it will, just because he's been so good in the games he's played. If anything, I think that, here's the thing. Injuries are there. There's not like a blanket injury though. Like he had a rib injury, which is a much better injury to have from an NFL perspective than like an ACL or an Achilles or a lower body injury. Like if you're a sprinter or a speed person, you don't want to have lower body injuries because you can't train. Like he was able to train, keep his wind, and he just couldn't get hit because he had a rib. So when you're a guy like Trey, who, again, when you watch football, and I like Sunday's my favorite day of the week because I really don't have to do a ton of work. We usually podcast at night, but I watch every NFL game. So I watch, and I love watching great running backs. I love watching Kamara, Gibbs, these guys that people, they term them as gadget backs, but they can run between the tackles. They basically make the whole offense run. The Detroit Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, they're potent on offense. Even Austin Eckler, who is a late round guy, he's not as dynamic as Gibbs is, but that's what he can be. You plug him into, the thing. That's why I laugh when people say, well, could he be a first round pick or not? And I'm like, well, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm picking like 30th in the draft and Trey Henderson's sitting there, I'm like running to the podium with the card and saying, put this guy next to Pat Mahomes and let's go win another Super Bowl. Because that's the one that just makes the most sense to me. And I don't know how he would ever get passed up by a team that has like the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon's at the end of the line. There's teams that are drafting like 22 to 32, and they've got a good young quarterback, and you could put a guy like him next to it. It's just like a safety belt inside of a Ferrari. It just makes total sense. What are your thoughts on it, Nevada?
My thoughts are that Joe Mixon hit that girl. I mean, I know that's alleged. I know the thing.
It's on camera. It's not alleged. I mean, it's literally on camera.
I think he was provoked.
Are you Sandra Ono now? Are you gonna say bet?
She's bet, man. I'm bet. Yeah, he was provoked, but anyway, but I digress. No, Trey. I mean, you look at the draft and you're like, the draft is really, it's like 8 quarterbacks in the first round, and then a couple offensive tackles, Marvin, and then Trey. You know what I'm saying? Like Trey he'll be the first running back taken. He'll be great, and as you mentioned, he hasn't anything structural. He had plantar, and then he had the ribs. The plantar is a biatch too, man. Plantar is so hard. Yeah. It's so hard to get off that. But no, I mean, he's cooking now. He's 100% healthy, and just such an asset to the offense because he can run inside, he can run outside, he can catch the ball, which is just absolutely huge when he goes out there and flares out. Because as we saw. I'm not sure. I guess it was a couple weeks ago. You can throw him a little 5-yard thing, and he can almost take it to the house. So just get him the ball anywhere on the field, and watch him go. But no, I don't think it should affect. I don't think it should affect his draft stock. And I think when he runs sub 4.4 at the combine, I think teams are going to be lined up, and he will run sub 4.4.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like when you're a genetically gifted freak. Superior genetics, you've got that track speed, you're a track star. It doesn't matter how hot you are. If you get your foot hurt, it's tough. I mean, it's hard to keep it moving. And again, he's back, man. And when he's in there, he is motoring. And again, he's a difference maker. W Buckeye, appreciate you, my man. Oh, this is nice. You guys rock. Now, just so you know, I figured out why all the sobbing after the game. They all know they're cooked and the pressure's building. Again, Nevada, I got to get your take on this because, like, Fat Albert gets on here after the game, and I thought that they executed Jim Harbaugh like Ned Stark in the middle of State College before the game. Like they beheaded him, and Arya Stark had to run for the hills, but they didn't kill him. He just had to stay at like the embassy suites and eat the continental breakfast during the game instead of like be with the team. But like this guy was like crying, and I was like, this guy, like, I mean. It's funny because like I never heard of him. He played at the same time I played in college football, but he didn't win any awards like for being good. And then he just was like a coach working up the chain. So I never heard of the guy. He played at Oklahoma, but Fat Albert was crying pretty good. What were your thoughts on that? 'Cause I'm not like I get being emotional and whatever, but like, was it really worth like sobbing like uncontrollably like on national TV?
Well, first of all, I want to draw kind of a distinction between the sobbing Michigan coach and the upset Ohio State fans that feel like this punishment's been a nothing burger. It's like there couldn't be more dichotomous reactions to this punishment. Nothing burger, there's nothing, and Jim's Harbaugh gone. But look, the Michigan response, clearly they have fully embraced the victim mentality. Us against the world. We're America's team. We've faced so much adversity. I mean, I mean, everything about it is disingenuous. I don't. No. I think you and I have had kind of a debate on this, whether or not we feel like they really believe this stuff, or that this all is just disingenuous, vapid, just pablum that they're spewing. And I believe it's all pablum. I believe it's all PR. I believe it's all just complete nonsense, because I don't believe that anyone with a functioning brain could really believe the stuff that they're spewing out there about how they're the real victims in this. And I think that's why they've become such a national punchline, because, look, I mean, I think people would respect them a little bit more if they just said, look, we screwed up. This guy was rogue. He was a rogue agent, and we're sorry, and we're dealing with it, and we'll kind of go there, and we think this penalty is excessive. I think people could accept that. But this going full-blown, we're the victims, we're the thing, sobbing for, pray for Jim Harbaugh. I was embarrassed by it, and They should be
Oh
embarrassed,
God.
but they're shameless. So they lack the self actualization to realize how stupid they look.
They're like drama queens. Like it's like unbelievable. They're like like the guy that gets too drunk because they've never been to like anything fun before, and they just get all emotional and crazy. See, Ryan, this is Ryan after TCU. Ryan was like stoic, did real good. You know, wasn't sobbing and this one was for you, Coach Meyer. This one's for you. It's I don't know. It's just funny because like I love like. Yeah, that's what I want in my head coach. Like again, like I played, I was a captain, so I was like direct line to the coach, like the head coach. Like if like Jim Tressel had got up there like sobbing to death, or even like Luke Fickell, like Luke Fickell's a perfect example. Like if he would have been at the press conference after they whacked Tress and Luke had to go up to that podium and Luke's up there just teary-eyed, babbling, crying, I'd be like, dude, like we got to get ready to go to war, man. I don't need you like sobbing and all over the pillow and whatever. Like again, like there's like men that are like men, like Ryan is and like Luke Fickell is, and then there's guys that just like sob and cry like Fat Albert was, and I'm just like, you can't be like that. At some point, like you have to like, they all look to you. You're the guy. You are the guy. You're the guy that when you're the head coach, man, you're the head duck. The whole team's looking at you, and if you're up there, teary eyed and you got to be like the guy they look to. And again, that's why like I think Ryan does a good job, and Ryan, he's fiery now. He gets after these guys, but. Yeah, I'm glad that he's never like had like a mental breakdown on the sideline, crying like Fat Albert did. Got another super chat, Jeff Rittenhouse. Appreciate you, my man. JTT is drilling to go and see him. Dude, I think both their tackles are not great. I think that they're okay. And again, I might eat crow, and our guys might play like they're drunk at the Steelers tailgate on Sunday, but I don't think that that's going to be. The truth. I think Jack and JT, if I'm watching those tackles, man, I'm like, I can't wait to see those guys because, I would beat those guys like a new guy in prison if I was playing Denver. So the left tackle isn't great. He's fat. He's slow. The right tackle is okay, but he got smoked by Chop Robinson. I was rooting hard for Chop because I think he's a good player. I mean, Matt Jones sent him to the shadow realm when he knocked him unconscious, but, it happens sometimes, if you don't have your head on the swivel. But what are your thoughts, Nevada? Do you think our ends are going to have an advantage over the tackles?
No, I think they will, and obviously, I don't think they're going to pass a lot. I don't think Michigan's going to go back to pass a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of run game, and that's frankly where Jack Sawyer's been terrific against the run this year, and really done a really good job of kind of mucking things up and kind of creating that kind of traffic. And I think this game sets up perfectly for our defense to kind of rise up, make a statement. And we've talked about this many, many, many times, but I would much rather play an offense like this than a true multiple offense that's going to go out there and threaten you with the pass, threaten you with the run. I think so. I have nightmares about playing against Alabama in the national championship game where, they could have
four linebackers. Let's go 4-4 versus Devontae Smith. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be long.
No, or frankly, Florida 2006. I mean, not to bring up a bad memory there.
No, Urban was the first guy to offer me a scholarship, so it sucks to lose. But that guy, I'm telling you, football is a game of motivation. You got to be motivated. You have to be lucky, and you have to be on point that night. We were not lucky. Ted broke his leg the first play, so as soon as that happened, I was waiting for the stadium to collapse just on the Ohio State side of the stadium and just kill all of us because I was like, that'd be fitting for how the game was going. But go ahead and continue.
No, I think that it's really I think for Ohio State this game sets up well for our defense. I think that's what our defensive ends do well. I think they cage rush well, and I think that they'll be able to protect against the run. And I think if we commit another body into the box, we'll be able to slow down that running game. And Mike Hall's going to get challenged. Mike Hall's got to put on his big boy pants and do his thing. But he's hearing it. Everybody knows at the WAC that they're going to bring the power game and they're going to be running directly at Mike Hall. And Mike Hall's got to be ready. And I think he will be. I think he's an exceptional player. I think he's exceptionally quick, exceptionally disruptive, and I'm excited. I personally can't wait. So. Yeah, let's get it on.
Mike Hall, starting today, has to go. They have wing night on a Tuesday, Thursday at Buffalo Wild. He has to go to every wing night, every single night, and eat as much as he possibly can to get up to 290. I would be dipping everything in ranch. I mean, I'm just telling you, he's got to get some lead in his pants so that he doesn't get launched. But again, his game is quickness and speed. And, Ty Hamilton, he's okay. Like, he's a guy. He's not like Davon. Like, Davon was a monster. That's why he's signed for $60 million with Jacksonville. But, Ty Leak is a load. I don't think they've seen anything like Ty Leak. Ty Leak's a first-team All-American all day in my book. But it's going to come down to our D-line. But I think the funny thing about our ends is everybody complains about JT and Jack, who I think are fantastic and they're workmanlike, and they kind of are the straw that stirs the drink on the defense. But those guys might both be gone next year. JT is for sure gone, and Jack might be gone. So you don't complain about these guys, because next year the guys that we're gonna have, if we put in Caden and Kenyatta, they're not gonna be on the level of JT and Jack. But I think that the Michigan game will be like it'll be like when Doc Holliday. Doc Holliday at the end of Tombstone when he kills the dude. Like, that's what it's going to be like for Jack, because I think these guys have been waiting for it. CW, appreciate you. Thank you for the 10, brother. I think many of the Blue fans have failed to grasp the reference/meaning of the analytics firm US Integrity in the Big Ten's comment suspension. So again, this is massive kudos to Nevadabuck, because he read it and I read it and I looked at it, and Nevada's like, do you know what that means? And I was like, well, yeah, it's that gambling company, right? They have like a nice website, but you don't realize that these guys are absolute gargantuans. These are like 1,000-pound gorillas in the gambling world, and you do not want 1,000-pound gorillas like ripping you apart and killing you like they're about to do to Michigan. But talk a little bit more to that, Nevada. We went about it yesterday pretty good. But what does it mean when U.S. Integrity starts to snoop around at your program?
Well, it means that they're looking at kind of inefficiencies, weird market movements. Games or series of games that are statistical outliers. And, for Michigan, that's a problem, because, we've talked about this. The genesis of this whole thing was that Matt White's computer, the investigation for sex crimes against minors, doing a cyber review of his computer. They found the practice footage. They found the gambling cookies, and they found the Connor Stallions signaling scam. So, for me, and from what I hear, I think this is a big problem for Michigan, because I think that, the statutes against gambling are very, very specific. It doesn't even have to be against, on your own team. It can just be gambling in general. And I think Michigan's got a gambling problem, and that goes to lack of institutional control. You wonder, like, you say, well, where does this all lead? It goes to LOIC. And this scandal has got all the elements of LOIC. It's got repeat offender. It's got lying to the NCAA. It's got stonewalling. It's got competitive advantage. And now you've got a gambling thing that goes throughout Schembechler Hall. That's an issue, man. That's an issue, and that's why I think this thing's going to get real. And U.S. Integrity is the wrong firm to have on you on this stuff, because they're very good. They're very detailed, and they own that space. And the fact that they weren't, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't think people are picking up on the significance of this, but that's a big deal, and it could become bigger.
Yeah. Like I said, when I researched those guys are really serious. Like, I would be drinking I'd probably drink a whole bottle of prisoner wine if those guys were on me. 'Cause that is a scary moment. I'd be like, it's like seeing like Genghis Khan running, like coming up on your village. I'd be like, oh God, this isn't going to go good for us. But I got another one. Again, appreciate that. And again, thank you guys for tuning in and like paying attention, because like we really try to like unearth stuff that is like, this is really a big deal. And like, again, I don't know if anyone else is doing that, but this is what we do. Anthony Rodriguez, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the 10. Always great to listen to you guys. So we appreciate that very much. Thank you guys. We love kicking it with you guys. All talk from UM leaving the big. Now that is the funniest thing I've ever heard in the world. Could Big reverse and drop UM for the conference? I don't think so. Look at all of the UM admins, even the president biting their tongue at the Big. I just think Michigan's worth too much money. Like, I would do it if you could trade him for somebody, but I don't know if you're just going to let Michigan walk. Your thoughts on that, Nevada? And thank you again, Anthony, for the great compliment.
Well, look, if Michigan really, truly wanted to leave the Big Ten, I don't know what the Big Ten could do. I'd have to research that. I just, I've been just so giddy at the prospect of them potentially wanting to leave that I wish it was true, but I just know it's all a lie. And that's why, we'll read some of the stuff, people send us stuff from these other Michigan insiders, and you'll read it. And what I say to, I know I've been doing this so long, and I know a lot of our listeners have been doing this so long, like, when you're reading the goods, or you know when
No.
you're hearing the goods. Like you just know. You're like, this guy's just making it up. This is just a lie, or this is just there's no way that this is true. And that's why on this show we try to give you a fair and balanced approach.
I'll bring him back in a second. But yeah, we want to bring a fair and balanced approach. I think I lost my dog for a second. He's going to come right back. But we, again, my phone has been exploding. It's almost like I need to get a brand new one because of this thing. I get texts all day from people all over. Even Michigan people are texting me about it, which is interesting. But let me get Nevada back in here. You were talking about the fair and, us still in the fair and balanced coverage, which again, I agree with. And I was telling them when you were gone that we just my phone's been exploding with tips on this thing, but go ahead.
No, it's just, the stuff about leaving the conference, and when you read any of that stuff, it's baloney. It's all bluster. But I mean, would I trade Michigan and take Notre Dame? Yeah.
Oh God,
tomorrow, yeah. I would do that. So if we were having if this was like a fantasy draft, and somebody else, was like, hey, I'll trade you. You give me Michigan, and you guys get Notre Dame. It's like, oh, okay, I'll take that. I think Michigan is the most morally bankrupt program in all of college football. I mean, take the worst of the worst, and I think Michigan's the leader of the pack. I think they are absolutely a disgusting program. I think their leadership is just it's embarrassing. It's not even, I don't even know what word I can come up with, but it's just embarrassing, the leadership, the lack of leadership that they're showing, and the fact that Michigan would just sell their souls to protect the unprotected. There's certain, it's kind of like when you're a kid. If your kid's Jeffrey Dahmer, like some Lyle Dahmer was like that was the dad. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you can say, hey, I still love my kid. But he ate people. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like he put them in stew, and he ate them. That doesn't mean that you're gonna like Michigan. You don't have to hate Harbaugh and stuff like that, but you have to admit you have Jeffrey Dahmer as your head coach, and he he had his little sidekick there. Wayne Gacy, Wayne Gacy stallions that was running around out there doing stuff. You can still love them, but you got to know what they are, man.
Oh God.
And just own it, man, because it's bad. It's bad. I don't judge you, but it's just bad.
Oh, it's like there's like certain girls like from high school, like little short trolls that they've been with their body count is really really high, and they're not really that hot, and then some guy marries them and has kids with them, you're just like, ugh. Like that's what Michigan is right now. Like I mean, if you could trade that for like a smoke show, it's worth it, but otherwise, man, that is tough sledding, especially like when that guy doesn't realize how bad they are and is like defending it. I'm just like, ew. Like this is a little cringy. Beezy, what are the recruits thinking about going to Michigan? Has this have to sway their opinions, right? I don't know. Like I think this is like one of those things where it just depends on your options. Again, if you're a superstar and you can go to Bama or Georgia or Ohio State. Like if I'm a top player in the country at this point in my life, I'm going to Texas, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, one of those four. I mean, Texas has got the most money. Bama's got the best development. Georgia's on fire, and Ohio State is the one that's like recession proof. Ryan Day is got a long-term contract. Obviously for me, Ohio State's number one forever and always. But I'm just saying, like from a national perspective, if I'm like J.J. Smith, those are the only four schools I'm considering. But this also depends on your position. If you're J.J. Smith, like Brian Hartline is where you go. He is master splinter at this point. If you want to be Michelangelo and be the top dog turtle, then you got to go there. Do you? But what do you think, Nevada? Do you think that this will? I mean, again, if Harbaugh gets whacked, then all bets are off. It was like when a head coach gets whacked, you see the rats jumping ship. Like you see guys from A&M entering the portal because Jimbo got whacked. You'll see their recruits are all fair game. And again, that's why like the days of gentleman recruiting, like back in the glory days of the Big Ten, the mid '90s, where kid recruits and you stop calling them, and then with Urban and the SEC, they called out everybody every day forever, because again, that's the correct way, is just keep recruiting guys even after they're committed, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if Jim Harbaugh's going to go to the NFL. You don't know if, again, the greatest example of that of all time was Dontre Wilson. Dontre Wilson was from DeSoto, Texas, number one player, as a slash type, running back, receiver, Percy Harvin role dude. DeSoto, Texas, goes to Oregon, is locked into Oregon, and Chip Kelly bolts, hits the golden parachute, flies into the Philadelphia Eagles. So Dontre, who Urban and Zach Smith and Sam Drayton kept on recruiting, ends up committing to Ohio State because he didn't want to stick around for Mark Helfrich. He wanted to go to he wanted to go where he knew he could get developed. Obviously he never reached the capacity that we thought he would. But what are your thoughts on that, Nevada? Obviously, there's kind of varying deals with this. I think that option A is if he gets whacked, then everybody's up for grabs in the recruiting class. If they get like a bowl ban or suspension reduction, that'll be an issue because there's kids that want to play in bowl games. They want to play for titles. And I don't think there's an option C. Like, they're going to get smacked pretty hard. But your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Well, I think look, the biggest death for all recruits is staff uncertainty. That's the one thing you want to avoid, and I think there could not be a situation that has more staff uncertainty than Michigan. I mean, their best case scenario is that the punishment is delayed 6 months, 9 months, whatever, and that Jim kind of hangs in limbo, and everybody kind of does their thing with this diminished brand. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that you just get nuked into oblivion. I don't know why, people. You'd have to really, really love Michigan to go there. So I think they'll get the hardcore recruits. But if it's a jump ball, man, there is no way that I'm stepping into this because, like you said, there's so many other great options. Ohio State's not the only great option, as you said. There's a lot of great options out there, but Michigan just isn't one of them. I mean, Michigan, I would avoid that like the plague if I was a recruit. And you mentioned 3 or 4 other schools. I could probably add at least a couple more to that list. But Michigan is absolutely toxic. I would not go there. And I think if you go there as an elite player, you're undoubtedly going to end up in the transfer portal. And as we've seen with the transfer portal, I mean, it works a lot, but it's not the preferred route. If you're a guy that's want to be three and out to the league, you don't want to be transferring. I mean, that just injects another line of instability into your life, and why subject yourself to that?
No, I agree. Like a classic is like Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs goes to Maryland, and it was literally because Urban Meyer said you're going to be the next Percy Harvin. And Stephon Diggs is like, I ain't trying to be Percy Harvin. I want to be Stephon Diggs. So he goes to Maryland, and he had an okay career there, but I mean, he's like a 3rd round pick, and as a rookie, he's clearly the best receiver in the NFL or in his class, and but if he didn't get developed and he wasn't featured, if he walks onto that. I think it was he would have been on the 2012 team. I mean, he would have been our number 1 receiver the second he got to campus. But, Urban had to drop the magic, he wanted to be, I want you to be Percy Harvin. And, guys that are dudes don't want to be like, oh, I want to be you to be like this, cookie cutter thing. Steph Diggs wanted nothing to do with that. But that, some of these kids, they make just terrible decisions. And like, you'll look at their roster and you'll see a kid and be like, hey, then we used to try to recruit that kid. Then he ends up at, Miami or Florida, and he's like 3rd string, and like Kenyatta Goodwin, like he was a guy that the whole world ended when we didn't get him, and he goes to Kentucky, he goes to Florida, is out of football now, and he's been out for the whole year or so. I don't know. A super chat, Daryl, appreciate you, my man, Daryl Anderson, Parkersburg, West Virginia, love West Virginia, and I love Tudor's biscuits. Those things are great. How much time is spent in practice preparing for Michigan, since Michigan State and Minnesota are fairly weak? Well, what Truss used to do, because Truss is the OG and he's the GOAT, he is the absolute Michigan killer. He's the guy that started the trend of us whipping Michigan every year. We used to have this thing called a maize and blue period every practice. So we would literally, we would have like a period where it was like 10 minutes straight of like conditioning. Like, I mean, it was pushing a sled, or we'd have these like harnesses that they'd put on us, and you'd have a guy dragging you, you'd have to, drive block. And it basically was stuff that sucked. It was all like hardcore, like conditioning, body weight, burpees, that kind of stuff. So it really ingrained in you to like hate Michigan, because when you heard maize and blue period, you're like, we're about to get broke off and this is about to suck. So, I mean, when that period came up, we'd always be angry because we know that we're going to get, I mean, Tress would break us off pretty good on that, just because he wanted us to hate maize and blue and like condition it like Pavlov's dog. Just, we hear that maize and blue and we're angry because we know that we're about to get whooped. But it got us geared up. Again, like the Michigan game is so funny and it's so hard because these kids right now, everywhere they go, everyone they talk to, mom, dad, girlfriend, side piece, whatever. Like they're all saying, hey, here's the deal. You know, what's up with Michigan? Can you beat Michigan? Are you going to beat Michigan? Are we going to beat Michigan? Should I bet? Are you going to cover the spread? Blah, blah, blah. And so it's like these kids got to stay focused on Minnesota. And it's tough, man, because I lived it in '06, man. When we were juggernauts, they were playing like these turds like Illinois and Northwestern and Duquesne and some of these schools coming down the street. I mean, Duquesne's got a great chalk school. They're not a good football program. So we're going through all that. And literally, you know, we're getting ready for Michigan, and it's like a 1-versus-2 game. And it's just like, oh my God, like this thing's never gonna end. I was like, I cannot wait to get to kickoff, because once we finally get to kickoff, then we don't have to talk to anybody anymore, and it's just time to get after it, you know. So these kids have been living it, and again, when you've got two teams that are just way better than everybody else in the conference, and you see the collision course, like once we got through Penn State, and then Michigan got through Penn State, this is all Ohio State, Michigan, but. I'm sure that they always do advanced scouting. They not like Connor does, but I mean they do scouting reports. I'm sure Ryan Day watched the Penn State game, took some notes, some brief notes. They've got guys that want to advance. Like all of the young coaches, like the graduate assistants, they're working on Michigan right now. They're not working on Minnesota. That's how it works. You're always a game ahead when you're breaking everything down. So, but again, with what's at stake, I'm sure these guys are burning the midnight oil to get ahead on the Michigan game. But your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, yeah, Ryan Day doesn't have a Michigan period, and that's been one thing that's been kind of interesting. But this whole 3 weeks, like the poster put out there, and when you have Michigan State at home and Minnesota at home, you basically have 3 weeks to prepare for Michigan. I mean, Let's face it, they're not doing a lot of Minnesota work this week. They're just not. I mean, it's Michigan, Michigan, Michigan. So when we go up there, it won't be for lack of preparation. It won't be because our schedule didn't set up. Our schedule set up perfectly. And I'm telling you, Michigan going to Maryland this week is not as good as Ohio State having Minnesota this week. So while I'd much prefer that game next week to be in Columbus than Ann Arbor, man, this week we've got we're on easy mode and they're on watch it mode, because Maryland's a sneaky team, and I just have a feeling it's one of those games that nobody's expects. Maryland has been playing well; they've kind of been mailing it in, and man, you see it every year in situations like this where teams rise up, play better than people think they are, and surprise. And this could be one of those weeks, especially if they get out early. If they get out early and get a lead on Michigan, then man, I'm telling you, that could be a one-score game in the fourth quarter.
No, I absolutely totally agree. This is one of the best super chats we've ever had. Larry Daniels bringing the heat. Fun fact, I worked on Dahmer's parents' car in the early 90s. Now that is wild. You want to talk about being, well, at least they liked you and they didn't turn you into some stew. But thanks for the 5, my man. Any thoughts on that, Nevada? That's kind of weird. Kind of a little trivia question, I guess.
Yeah, no, Dahmer stuff's always interesting. I like that Netflix. If you ever watched that Netflix documentary on the thing, I mean,
it's amazing. I'm just like, this guy's nuts.
It was chilling.
Oh yeah,
but I'm waiting for the Connor Stallions one though. Connor Stallions like reading the manifesto, or having like James Earl Jones read the manifesto or something like that on the books on tape. That would be awesome. Like
Matthew McConaughey as Connor Stallions, like he could be like the true crime thing on HBO. That'd be amazing. Go Bucks. I think my man is from Louisiana because he spells it like the Cajuns do. I encourage everyone to read the Big's response to the university, scathing and absolute. I'm telling you, all these court documents that come out, you guys got to read these, because those things they're very entertaining, because the Big Ten, as much as Michigan wants to thumb their nose at it, I mean, Big Ten isn't playing right now. So you agree with that, Nevada. I mean, me and you sat and read those things. I was like, ooh, boy, they are not messing around, and they are not scared of Tom Mars. Your thoughts, Nevada?
No, but again, fans, take the time. Google the Big Ten response to Michigan. Google Big Ten sportsmanship policy. It only takes you a couple of minutes to read through the stuff, but you'll be so much smarter than everybody else that's talking about this stuff. They're in the Big Ten's response to Michigan. They talk about the NCAA knowing and can prove, and then they list 5 things that they have there. I mean, that's crazy that is out there right now, and that hasn't gotten nearly enough attention. Know and can prove. I mean, that's they've already judged. It's already over. It's game over, man. It's just a question of when the hammer's going to fall and who's going to still be standing there when it hits. But I mean, I found it so incredibly damning. But again, take your time, read the stuff. It won't take you long, and you'll be a heck of a lot smarter.
No, I totally agree. It's always fun just to read the insights and where they're thinking. Todd, Alex, that's the guy that got busted for the To Catch a Predator thing at Walmart. Needs to go hunting with Dick Cheney. Now that is funny. Todd, bravo. That is outstanding. Assume you want Alex to get shot after hollering at a 13-year-old girl. But he was also part of the Connor Stalions like Avenger troop. He was like part of the film Manifesto. And Alex, you're going to be a big part of the program. Just go get this film and do whatever you want to do on your off day. And it was pretty bad. That's my little cousin. Oh, man. Kenyatta, I didn't know he wasn't playing. That's your little cousin? I mean, how big are you? He's 400 pounds, but tell him to come to Ohio State. We need tackles, man. We'll take him in a heartbeat. So I didn't know that, Mello. I appreciate you, my man. As always, you're in here every single day, but tell him to come to Ohio State, man. Mickey Murado get that fat off him because I know he got a little heavy. That was the issue at Kentucky, and I'm sure he's struggling right now. So pass that along. Pravjot Sandhu, appreciate you, brother. I want the Buckeyes to plant our flag in the middle of their stadium, like how they did us. See, I think it's better just to not do that. I mean, you could do that, but I think that's kind of Bush. Like, I think it's better just to whoop them, run with class, and just do your thing. Now, I did wave the flag in 05 in the stadium, and that felt great. But like, I didn't feel like starting a riot and planting it in the middle of the Block M, because once you beat them and you take their soul, like, there's nothing left to take. You don't have to say, oh, let me go do this. Because I thought when Baker Mayfield did it, it was corny. I think he looked like a douchebag because Baker Mayfield is a douchebag. But what are your thoughts on that, Nevada? Now mind you, I burned a cigar in the locker room. Now I did that every year. I only got caught doing it in 06, but I just, the flag planting is kind of played out. But your thoughts on that?
Let me ask you a question, and I've never asked you this question before. This is not a work. This isn't like Ryan's Roses on Kiss FM or something like that.
Ryan's Roses.
But here's my question: what did you think of the double birds when we got the famous at Michigan Stadium double birds as he's walking off the field? What did you think about that? Good look, bad look, iconic look. Where are you at on that?
Well, I mean, it's what Marcus is known for. Like, you gotta understand, I love Marcus Hall. Like, I helped recruit him. I coached him for 3 years. Like, I love Marcus Hall. So, I mean, I don't know what I would have done if I got ejected that early in the game. I mean, I would have gone. I would have gone absolutely crazy. I mean, it would have been like, I don't know. Like, but I mean, I didn't mind it, because again, like, you have nothing left to lose. Like, I mean, it's not like they're going to throw you out twice if you get the double bird, but he might have gotten suspended for Michigan State the next week, the game we lost. So, again, I was never close to getting ejected because, like, if I was going to hit guys, I was going to hit them, like, between the whistles, because I was not about to, those guys can try me, but as soon as that whistle's blown, I can go take a shot right at their knee. And because that's what really hurts them. Like, punching guys, like these guys that fight in football are so dumb, because if you throw a punch and you break your hand, and maybe I'm soft, but I think I'm just exceptionally intelligent. I think if you're going to hit somebody, hit them in the knee, because that's where you can really hurt them. You put the crown of your helmet in someone's knee and you cut them, that hurts way more than getting punched in the face. I mean, I've been in fights in football, but like, I'm just not a big fan of punching a face mask, because like, if you break one of these digits, man, it's a lot harder to do your job. But I like Marcus, and it's whatever, but it just, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's what he's known for. There's t-shirts, and when he does autograph signings, that's the photo he's signing. He's not signing any other photo. He's signing a photo of just, rolling through there or whatever. See, like, what I did, like, when I won, is that a good enough response for you?
Oh, see, I loved it. See, the thing is, I thought it was great. What I loved about it was the spontaneity of it. Like I said, the thing just looked so like contrived, and he was gonna go, I'm gonna go plant the flag now. But like, I like spontaneous outbursts, whatever that might be. That's why, like when Ohio State ripped down the banner in '73 or whatever it was. Like, I love that. That
was Hicksy. That's John Hicks is my boy, man. That was amazing. He was leading the charge, man. John Hicks was like my hero. I used to have lunch with him, God rest his soul, and like that was the best, because like, that was spontaneous. It's kind of like, I grew up in '97. Woodson, you had that rose after they beat us and going to the Rose Bowl. So like, they had roses on our side. I was like, give me them roses. So like, when I was walking off the field in '07, man, I was like, give me one of them roses. I want a rose. And then of course we go to the Sugar Bowl. So it's like, I really needed like a bag of sugar. I mean, like we needed like 5 teams to lose after we spit the bid against Illinois to get into the championship. And we ended up being the 1 seed of the championship. And of course we had to play like LSU at LSU in a home game. So we lose, of course, but I couldn't wait to do this because I remember, I always remember that photo of Charles Woodson. And when I golfed with Charles Woodson, I literally told him, I was like, look, I took this photo because I was so mad that you like beat all of my heroes in, what was that, 97? Like he beat like a good Ohio State team and he put the rose in his mouth. And that's like one of the iconic photos. So I was like, well, I want my own photo. So I put the rose in my mouth. But, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, you dream about beating them, but when you actually do beat them, it's the greatest feeling in the world, especially in Ann Arbor. Because you beat them in Ann Arbor, man, it's like all their moms and dads are crying and it's senior day. And, you know, they get to go out with one last game in the big house with a big fat L to the Buckeyes. So that's why, like, I'm excited for guys like Cade Stover and Tommy and some of these guys, man, because, like, it's the ultimate win is when you beat them in Ann Arbor on their senior day when, like, they've got their mom and dad up there wearing their jerseys and they're holding the little jerseys and all that. And, like, I hated senior day. I didn't even like it at home, but, you know, because I was already in, like, serial killer mode once I hit the field. I wasn't trying to do any ceremonies. I was ready to go to war. Trevor, thank you for the buck. Appreciate you, brother. If you have a question, toss it in there. Philip, a new Scoop member. This is one of our new Scoop members. He's joined BuckeyeScoop.com. I appreciate you, my man. I like to take this time. This is great. I take the time to say RIP to Jim Harbaugh. I didn't realize until after the game he passed away. Staff is feeling it very much. Well, I mean, he did eat that. He was probably eating at that free buffet, and sometimes those things can be a little sketch, especially in State College, because in State College, they have the worst hotel in the entire Big Ten, and it's where all the teams stay. I call it the Bates Motel, because it's like literally an outdoor hotel, which is a motel, where it's like you walk down the outdoor hallways to get to your room, and I'm like, this is such trash. So I was hating going there, but I appreciate you, Philip. Thank you for the 5. Buckeye 1. These things are flying in here. Why are the OC and DC allowed to coach that team in North? See, this is what I don't understand because they're just as complicit, but Harbaugh is suspended. They're the ones calling the plays and taking advantage of the science team. Nevada, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I just think that they're trying to do something, but when the whole organization is corrupted by it, like how do you save it?
Well, I mean, the practical answer on that is, as we talked about before, under NCAA bylaws, the head coach is responsible for all the operations of the underlings, and the Big Ten is choosing to kind of preempt the NCAA, punishment, trying to get ahead of it because they don't want them to escape punishment. So they've kind of gone for what they can do under their statutes. They haven't been able to prove as of yet a direct connection. I mean, Michigan's defense on this is going to be, we thought that Connor Stallions was Raymond Babbitt, and he was Rain Man, and he could just pick stuff out and just, definitely going to be definitely Wapner, and definitely going to be a pass, And so that's where they were at with it, and that's what they're going down with. That's what they're like, we just thought he was really good at this stuff. We had no idea that he was cheating or stealing or doing any of that stuff like that. But Harbaugh doesn't have that affirmative defense because of the NCAA rules. So that's why he got whacked. But those guys' heads are on the chopping block if they can prove that he knew, and they're digging for that right now.
Nevada, is this one of your kids? Tony, you're gonna have to get on FaceTime with us and prove that you're not one of Nevada's kids. I will say this is actually probably Nevadabuck logged in. I will say that this Nevadabuck guy is sharp as hell. There we go. Tony Turley, man. That's like Burt. Is that the new Burke Carton? When you go check in Las Vegas and you go to Spearmint Rhino, you tell everyone you're Burke Carton, and then everyone's like, "Do you mean Kirk Barton?" No, I mean Burke Carton. That's my real name.
Burt. Yes, and I'm the Oracle and the helping technician and the Horseman. Man, I'm busy, man. I got a lot.
Yeah, you're Bill Greene and you're Brandon Moses. Once you hit a spray tan, you turn into B Moses too.
Be my man,
my man. I appreciate that. We're gonna break this play down real quick. I was watching this one earlier. I love when we start off in empty. So empty is when you're 5 wide. So you got your 5 wide. Trey starts off split out like a receiver. Motion him into the backfield to pass protect. Put him right next to the quarterback, nice and easy. The thing I love about this is you've got 3 over here, and then you've got your Marmaduke right here. Your Marmaduke is Marvin Harrison. Like, he is our X receiver. The whole offense runs through the X receiver. If you don't have a good X receiver, you might as well just quit the game. So, we do all this window dressing, we motion. And again, when you motion, this guy's got to come in. Everybody's looking over here. Are we going to toss it to him? Are we going to throw a bubble screen? And all we do is Simple, 2 steps, hitch. Marvin cooks this guy. This guy's barbecue chicken right here. Nice release, nice easy money. Like I love stuff like that where you can separate all the stuff and you get Marvin wound up out there. Another super chat. Excuse me. I appreciate this one, man. Let me flick the screen over real quick. Parajot Sandhu, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the deuce. What are the chances of Marvin winning the Heisman? I think they're very high. I think literally, like the last 2 Heismans, it all comes down to beating Michigan. Your thoughts, Nevada? And I feel great about that game.
Yeah, I mean, win out, and I think he will win the Heisman. If we win the next 2 games, he will win the Heisman. I'm just telling you. Like I don't, the best player on the best team. And as you said, that Ohio State Michigan game is going to be one of the highest, rated games of all time. He'll be the Heisman front runner. And he'll be the Heisman winner if we win them both. So let's go get it done.
No, I totally agree. I think that I think that he's clearly the best player in the country. Again, I've said it 50 times. It's like Larry Fitzgerald versus Jason White. People want to give it to the quarterback, but it's like you look down 20 years later. Jason White played 1 year in the league. Fitzgerald played 20 years in the league. One of the 10 greatest receivers who's ever played, and maybe the best hands in NFL history, first ballot Hall of Famer, world-class human being. It's a shame a guy like that is not in the Heisman fraternity. A lot like CJ Stroud, who, a turd, Caleb Williams won it, and Bryce Young, who's a little midget, he won it. So I'm going to break down this next play because I really love this. Like, again, Ryan, we had good Ryan. Good Ryan was calling the plays. He's done a great job. We got another super chat. Kentucky Buck, appreciate you, my man. Thanks for the deuce. As always, we appreciate all your support. If you guys have questions, holler at us, put it in the super chat. Again, this is another little quick motion. Got your tight end out in here, and it's just to get the big dog, get Marmaduke wound up here. And again, he just cooks this guy. This is like, this is like the lightweight at the Steeler tailgate. I mean, this is the lightweight at the Steeler tailgate. He's not going to last. He's going to pass out. It's over, and you're cooked. So again, when you put Marvin against a slot corner, it's going to be really, really bad. And Marvin, he's a difference maker, and this guy is just a guy, so he's deleted. And again, it's just a good way to pad the sets. Because again, like Marvin, the thing I love about this is there's no safety in the middle. So there's nobody here. And I know you're like in the low red when you're at the low red area, which is inside the 10. So there's going to be a lot of man coverage. But like, when Marvin can run this route and he knows that there's nobody in here to split his wig, like there's not like a safety sitting in here ready to kill him. Like this is literally free money. He has all this end zone to get open, and this guy's over here. I mean, this is as easy. This is this great play design by Ryan Day. But what else is new? And obviously, when you have a mismatch like a slot versus Marvin, it's just fun to watch. Again, Michigan State, we knew they were beat down. We knew it was basketball season for them coming in, but it was good. All right, couple more. Appreciate this. Do you think Justin Frye will let Matt Jones start at center? We need more beef up front November 25th. Well, I think that, we know that they're repping him at center right now. Because I think that, Carson he's a finesse center. He's a lighter guy, but he's coming along. And again, here's the problem with putting him at center is that you're bringing in like someone like Enoch in off the bench who hasn't played all year. You're bringing in someone who is going to be basically making their first, second, or third career start. So I think you see the same line, as long as everyone's healthy, that you've seen all year. I think Matt he'll be first team All Big Ten. He's been dominant. Donnie is playing better than he had been. Our tackles have been very solid. And Carson's coming. Again, he's the youngest guy up there. So, I mean, there's a learning curve when you're playing offensive line in the Big Ten. You can't hide, especially when you play against good players. So, you're going to have your hiccups sometimes, especially at center where, you can have a bad snap and that counts as a hiccup. And, you're right in the middle of all of the fray. Like center is a difficult position compared to like tackle. Tackle, you're generally blocking the end or you're double teaming down with the 3 technique. But at center, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff coming your way. And you're going against guys that are generally bigger and fatter than you, bigger and heavier. So, I just think that it's just real interesting. And it's interesting they're moving Matt this time of year, but you got to cross-train and build depth, man, as the season progresses. Your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I just, there's a reason they're doing it, but I don't think they're going to do it. I think the line is coming along. I firmly believe that if we get good Ryan the next couple of weeks, specifically up in Ann Arbor, that we'll win. I just think when our offensive scheme is cooking, and we've broken down a couple plays tonight. We did 3 or 4 plays yesterday. It's like it's just so hard to defend. And we don't need to have a hammer at center to win that. We just need somebody who's
Yeah.
capable, who can snap the ball, and who can stand in front of the guy. Like, with good play design, you don't need to be killing guys. Good play design defeats the need to be killing guys out on the field. You know, we don't need a Kirk Barton obliterate block every time to make a play work. We just need get in the right spot. Don't get beat across your face. You know, make the snap thing, do the thing, and when we do that, our offense cooks. And so let's root for good Ryan.
Well, I think that, you know, like when you brought up the Florida game earlier, so I'll bring that up again. So Florida destroyed us, 41-14, the game everyone remembers. We got dominated on both sides of the ball. How many of the offensive linemen from the Florida Gators that year got drafted that started in the game?
0.
None. And did they dominate us? And did they run for 1 million yards? And did they, so I mean, so if you don't have like a bunch of Orlando Paces or Paris Johnsons up there, but they sure looked like it, and it was their scheme. I mean, their scheme was dynamic. It was ahead of the curve, and that's the thing when you're watching that, you're just like, God. Like, I remember sitting there watching that in the Jumbotron when I was on the bench, when the defense on the field, I was like, that is like really hard to defend. Like, I would hate to be out there playing linebacker or safety right now and trying to find all this motion and figure out who has the ball. And then the guy that gets the ball is running a 4-3. Like, it's tough. So, when Urban came up here and we were running it, I was like, that is really dynamic stuff. This is a great screen hit. Epstein didn't kill himself. Thanks for the 5, my man. Appreciate you, Nevadabuck. Are you still doing the webcam reveal if we hit 25,000 subs this year? Closing in on it. I've been a fan of the show for a while. Keep it up, guys. Nevada, that is a question for you.
Yeah, on the 25,000, there will be a Nevadabuck. There'll be a Nevadabuck reveal on the 25,000 when we reach 25,000 subs. So we'll make that happen. That'll be memorable. That'll be truly memorable.
I can't wait. We're getting close, man. I mean, what are we gonna do when we hit 50? Because we'll hit 50 pretty quick here too. Schaefer Healthcare, thank you for the 10. They can't lose to the human sad emoji face. That is actually a great call. Your boy Harbaugh massively. Oh, you're talking about Sharon. Oh, I mean, Jim looks like he's lost every time you see him, but Sharon was just a big crying baby. Looked like crying Jordan. Like, anytime you do a post-game interview and it turns into a meme immediately after because you look so ridiculous, you know that you've lost the crowd after. Massively improved defense and weapons on offense. No Sanders on the side. He has to shut them up. 31-20 Bucks. I actually really like that score pick. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I like the score pick a lot too. I might have to adopt that one for my own, but yeah, no, I really think we're going to win. I felt that way about this team for a while. We talked about them being a team of destiny a while back. I think they're the best team in college football. Maybe a hot take, but I think they can win it all. I think we've got two of the best players in all of college football, and I think we've got the best defense in college football. When you have the two best offensive players in college football, and you've got the best defense in college football, and you've got the worst special teams in college football, that's a combination for a champion. Did I say that, or did I?
No. They really are. I mean, like, they're statistically like 120th in some categories in special teams, which is like absolutely impossible to me, given the talent, the athletes, the strength training, like everything in the universe. Like, it's incredible how bad we are on special teams. Go ahead.
No, but I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win, and I think we're going to shut down. I think we're going to shut down that Michigan offense, and I don't think they can stop us. I'm just telling you. I mean, they had trouble. I'm telling you, Penn State with Drew. I'm asked my dude Aller at quarterback was moving the ball on those guys. Aller rushed 10 times for 49 yards against them. They were getting movement between the tackles. If he wasn't just completely terrible, they were so terrible that they fired the offensive coordinator the next day. That's how bad they were. And we're going to move the ball on that. We're going to move the ball. They could have won that. Penn State could have won that game by 2 scores if they were just barely competent on offense. And we're way better than barely competent, and we're going to move it on them.
No, I totally agree. Todd asked for me to give a shout out to his nephew Mo. Yeah, I'd love Mo. I hope you enjoy the show. I appreciate you, my man. I hope you're a Buckeye. I hope you hate Michigan. And I hope that you do good in school. Make sure you do good in school too. Thank you, Todd, for the 2. Appreciate you, my man. I got another play to break down. I mean, Ryan was in his bag a little bit. I don't know, Nevada. He was in his bag. He's in the bag of tricks. Little wheel route. Always beautiful. Because, again, the thing about Marvin, the Marmaduke, he is terrifying. So he gets all this attention. So anything he does, everyone's going to pay attention to. Like, look at the coverage. Like, you got here, bracket, boom, running with him. So, when you do that, like, I mean, these guys know how they're going to play Marvin. They're going to, basically try to take him off the field. So, you do this little, this is beautiful right here. So you see X here. He comes here, and they fake this little sweep action. So it looks like a reach and a sweep and the whole nine. And all of a sudden, this is like a fake counter sweep. So you got a guard pull, you got the backside tight end pull. So he's got the edge, he's got the kind of like the whatever leaks. And then you've got, he comes to the linebacker and fake blocks and turns it into a route. And then you've got a run here. So this is actually amazing. This is like, I mean, so this guy is thinking that, the ball's coming here. He sees double pull. This guy's got to come get him. And then he does like a little hezzy here, like a Euro step. And he breaks out. And, these guys are so scared to death of Marvin that they're both looking at him. Nobody cares about X. And so when this guy like gets his feet all bumbled up, it's over. He's cooked. He is a cooked chicken. So they're all of a sudden, and again, this is what I love is when it's just this is like a nice, easy throw wide open. There's nobody, Marvin being a great teammate is going to occupy these guys. So you don't have like some free safety come down here to split his wig as soon as he catches it. These are the kind of passes that guys want to catch because they know they're not about to get creamed, because that's the problem. It's like if you throw this and they got a safety over there, man, you're going to get knocked into, kingdom come. But again, good Ryan was in full display. Your thoughts on that play, Nevada?
Well, if you look at that play too, I mean, he could have taken that down the middle of the field as well. I mean, he took it out as kind of a wheel route down the sideline. But look, when he goes up there and bluffs on that linebacker, if he just goes right past, I mean, that's kind of similar to the play that they scored on against Georgia last year where he cooked the linebacker. But he goes up there. I mean, if the whole middle of the field, the whole middle of the field's wide open. And so I love what X brings. But, look, you've got legitimately scary dudes like Marvin Harrison, Trey Henderson out in the field. You've got to account for those guys. And that just enables you to get favorable matchups with X, with Carnell Tate, with Emeka, with Cade Stover, with your other weapons. And, man, you got to defend them all. And it's really, really tough to do when you're not calling loser plays.
Totally agree. Duncan Watt, appreciate you, my man. Nevadabuck refill. I'm loving it. It's going to happen. I'm excited about it. We're getting close, man. I mean, we're climbing. We had like 100 new subscribers just yesterday. So you better start your calendars, man, because it might happen before Thanksgiving. We'll probably get to the point where we can wrap this. Actually, I got another play because I got to break down a Trey Henderson touchdown and then we'll wrap this thing up. Oh, never mind. I got another super chat. Try to get these super chats. I love you guys to death. I get super chats like as the show's ending, and I always try to make sure I get them. So if I do not ever get a super chat at the end of the show, I apologize, and I will try to get it the next day. I get some right as I'm closing the show down, and I'm just like, ooh, I better come back in and answer. So if you send it and I see it, I try to get back in the show and answer. Just wanted to say that because this happened 3 times this week, which is great, and we love you guys. So we always try to make sure we get your stuff done. John Mertes, appreciate you. Do you think that the Michigan staff sees the writing on the wall and starting to look for jobs and won't be focused on the game? I would be. I mean, again, like if the hammer of God's coming down on me, like I'm thinking, I would at least be having my agent do it. Because again, like a lot of these coaching searches, like the coaches don't ever talk directly to people. It's the agents talking to the board of trustees or the negotiating team, or, again, there's like Texas A&M, for instance, they whacked Jimbo Fisher. Spencer Lanning seems like he's the odds-on favorite to get the job. So Spencer Lanning's agent is talking to, whatever search firm they're using. They're keeping it high level. Because again, like, the guys at A&M, they sing like sorority girls, like when it comes to sharing information and scoops. And that's why TextEx is the biggest site in the world. It's because they've got so much inside information from all those guys that like to tell them what they know. So, these coaches all want plausible deniability because, Dan Lanning's going to get to his press conference, and the first question is going to be, the rumor is that you're going to Texas A&M. Have you talked to A&M? Have they offered you anything? Blah, blah. And he can sit there and say, nope, I have not talked to him. I'm focused on the Oregon Ducks and winning for Oregon and blah, 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 blah. And in reality, he can say that because he hasn't talked to him. He's not lying, but his agent has. It's just like with, Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is like, I never talked to Ohio State until the Monday after they lost to Michigan. And I'm like, yeah, the ink was already dry on your contract by then. But, the people love to talk and people love to have scoop. And that's why, again, it's fun to have the inside information that we have, because a lot of people that are really high up in the food chain like to talk a lot. But what are your thoughts on that, Nevada? Do you think the staff will be focused on the game?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that'll be a thing, but look, all this other noise. I mean, it's not good. I mean, you ideally you don't want to be dealing with stuff like this going into a game. You want to be so focused solely on the task at hand. And I can't imagine a bigger distraction for a team than lawsuits and national ridicule and coach suspension. And look, they can play all this. Oh, it's galvanizing. Oh, it's all this, but it's a distraction. And distractions are death for coaching staffs and death for in big games. There's never a positive out of distractions like this. So this has been a problem for Michigan, and will continue to be one for the next 10, 11, 12 days.
Well, and I think it's a distraction for the players, because, I mean, you hear the rumors. I mean, again, when you're a player and, you live on social media, you live on Instagram, you live on ESPN.com, and even more so, your family does. Your family subscribes to BuckeyeScoop.com. They subscribe to the Best Ohio State message board. They hear the innuendo, the rumors, the hot list. They have these like big boards for coaching searches, like because the coaching searches for people in our industry are like liquid gold, because everybody wants to know who's going to be the guy, what's the term of the contract, who's the potential staff. Like TexAgs is like eating this up with a spoon right now, because again, like there's a lot of intrigue. Can they get Dan Lanning, who's a young hot coach who they're going to have to pay $100 million to leave Oregon, but they need to make a big splash after a colossal failure in Jimbo Fisher. So I think it's going to be fascinating. But the thing about coaching, especially when you're playing a team like Ohio State and you're at Michigan, I mean, Jim Tressel had a great saying. He always say, make sure that your head and your behind, he didn't say behind, is in the same spot when you're in this profession. Like, make sure you're, like if you're working somewhere, you're working there. You're not thinking about your next job or, hey, this guy called me and he thinks he's going to be the next head coach at, Texas, and he might bring me as his wide receivers coach, or, hey, this guy is going to get like a MAC job. And, like when you're like a GA and you're making, pinto beans for a living, like I was, like, there would be people reaching out to me saying, hey, you should interview with this guy. He's going to get, like Doc Holliday got the Marshall job, and Urban's like, you should interview for the tight ends job. And I was like, okay. And, I talked to Doc, and he's like, hey, call me after signing day. And it's funny because he actually ended up going with the guy who's like the offensive, I think he's the tight ends coach at Georgia now, Todd Hartley. But and I was fine with that, because I was kind of overcoaching at that point. I got my MBA done. I was ready to go into business and actually enjoy my life, not be a life hater for 40 years. But just kind of is what it is. All right, next one, Tony. This is your boy, Nevada. This is the guy that said you're like, I thought he said you're like smart and insightful and genius and handsome, and I think he's just trying to get a trip like to Spearmint Rhino with us out of what he was saying to you. So we appreciate that as always. But thank you for the 5, brother. Both gentlemen, would you concur that the key to the game will be our front seven staying in their individual gaps and not over pursuing? Go ahead, take that, Nevada.
Yeah, I think that's the story. I mean, it's you got to be able to stop the run, and you got to be able to stop McCarthy's legs. If we can just not have him run wild on us, and convert thirds and eights by breaking contain and getting around there and doing stuff. That's the only thing that's scary about their offense to me is McCarthy's legs. I think quarterback run is always overpowered. It's certainly overpowered in college, and it's the only novel thing about McCarthy's game that I think makes him a really good college quarterback. And so, yeah, it's going to be discipline. It's going to be scheme spying him and having somebody that's fast enough to be able to run him down. That's where having guys like Josh Proctor, having guys like Cody Simon, having guys like Sonny Styles are so important in a game like this. So I think we're perfectly equipped to go up and after it, but you're going to have to be disciplined. You have to be tough. And, yeah, the front seven it's going to determine whether or not this game's close. If we can shut them down, I don't think the game's close. I think we win by 2 scores. If they can run the ball on us, move it, slow the game down, I think it's going to be a tight one to the very end. And, I mean, I'm not trying to be Mr. Mean, but I'm not sure if I want the game coming down to be a field goal at the end of the game.
No.
No.
Oh, God, no.
So
go for it.
Let's go for it. Let's get ahead. Let's make it all easy on us so we can enjoy the last few minutes. And I want to bring this up because I haven't brought this up, but it's like last week I saw the Clemson game. Did you see the Clemson fans storm the field after beating Georgia Tech?
Yeah, of course.
I think we should storm the field.
Nothing else to do.
if there's 9 of us up in Ann Arbor or something like that, I think we storm the field after the game. So whoever's with me, man, if we win, when we win up in Ann Arbor, let's storm the field. Look for me. I'll be the guy with the panda head on, storming the field out there and jumping on Ryan Day's shoulders.
No, I mean, I'm not storming the field because I'm not going to spill my hot chocolate because that stuff's expensive. You know what it is. Plus, I just got my nails done. I'm just kidding. But no, I can't. You know, it's hard when you're uncredentialed to get down on the field, and I don't want to get down on the field down there anyways. But I'm just teasing. I've already been there. I've already beat them on their field. So it's like I've been there. I've got the T-shirt. Like it's all good. But I think it's interesting because I don't think I've ever seen any of our fans down there on the field when they beat us in 11 when we were. And I really I count that, but I really kind of don't. Cause that was like Luke's year. And, I wish they would just canceled the whole season when Tressel got fired. Cause like we lost 7 games that year and it was just like, all the coaches knew that they were lame ducks. They knew they're all getting whacked. We knew we didn't have a chance. We lost our starting quarterback, lost our head coach. So, I've been up there like post game in a loss and it's not fun. And the funniest thing is when you lose as a coach, this is the best part. So, they have a golf cart that'll take you like up to the press box before the game and also at halftime. Because, at halftime, the guys in the press box have to go flying around the corner in a golf cart to get to the halftime for adjustments. After the game, there's no golf cart to be found. So you literally have to walk from the top of the stadium. And, the big house is it's a big bowl. So you have to walk down like 8,000 steps in your Ohio State gear after a loss, So, I mean, it is like, and I'm walking with like Doc Tressel, who's like 80 years old, and Jim Bowman, who's 70 years old. And then there's me, who, is like this, nut job, So I was waiting for these guys to throw down. And some of these big fat idiots from Michigan would not get out of the way of the stairs. They just sit there, big fat gut hanging over, celebrating because it's the first time they beat us since 2003. So they didn't know what to do. And it's just like, they're the most obnoxious, idiotic, pompous human beings on earth. And I wish them nothing but death and destruction. That's all I care about. That's why that's why it's so rich when they're these wine eating, cheese eating douchebags, with their pretentiousness. Like that's why it was always good to go up there and beat them like the dude in Full Metal Jacket when they put the soap, the doorknob, the soap in the pillowcase. Like that's what we did to them when we played them up there. And it was really fun. But I think that the key to the game is stopping the quarterback run, stopping JJ McCarthy. Don't let him scramble. Don't let him convert. Contain him. Again, I think we can stop the power run. Again, our guys will be gassed up, ready to go. The guy that we need is Proc. I mean, Josh Proctor has been playing like Brian Dawkins this season, and I absolutely love it because Proc is one of the greatest kids I've ever seen. And he's one of the greatest stories I've ever seen. He's one of my favorite Buckeyes of all time for what he's did and how he's playing. And we need him back, so we're not going to have Lathan. All right, these things are pouring in here. We appreciate you guys again so much. All right. Josh Dillon, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the 10. Do you think the reason that the Michigan coach was crying on Saturdays when against Penn State is because he does this is over them all? I mean, it was a weird reaction. I will leave it at that. I mean, because again, if you know that you're in the house of cards and you know that it's all going to fall down. Because again, like the deeper this thing goes, and they're going to get to what does Sharon Moore know? What does Jesse Minter know? How complicit were they? Again, if I'm Sharon Moore and I'm the play caller and I'm the O-line coach, I'm down on the sideline and, I got some intern come up to me saying, hey, they're going to blitz off the right edge. Hey, they're going to be in cover 1, call this. Or, hey, they got 0 pressure coming. So, throw hitches so that we get rid of the ball fast and fade away. I'm like, how do you know all this? And you're getting it with 90% accuracy. So again, they had to know. And again, it'll be interesting when they get implicated in it because I think that's going to be the next step. But what are your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely know. I definitely think it's going to be. I think they do know it's the last dance for them, and I do think that makes them kind of emotional because they see that it's the end of the road. It's the end of the road for them. They'll never have this group of coaches together. They'll never have. Yeah, I mean, look, they'll never enjoy the advantages that they've enjoyed the last couple of years of having a clear cheating edge over every other team that they play. And so I'm sure that makes them kind of emotional. And it's sad when stuff like that ends. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, cry me a river there, Sharon.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that, Josh. And go Lightning. I love the Lightning. It's our boy Steve Swindell owns or he runs the Port of Tampa. That's right. That's where the arena is. I want to add a lunch with them at Hooters. Look that guy up. He's a beast. Dylan Wan, big highlight this season has been watching Trey lower his shoulder, finishing runs, and sticking players in pass pressure. Again, this is why I love this audience, because you guys see the stuff that I see that is the stuff that makes me really excited about a running back. Like, this kid is tough as nails. And as we do this, I'm going to break down a play real quick. Trey he's an X factor. And again, people say, oh, no vision, soft, whatever. I've heard the dumbest stuff in the universe about this kid. And I would kill to have this kid as my tailback. And I love Beanie Wells. He's right next to Trey Henderson. They're the same type of guys. Again, right in the A gap, speed to burn, great, blocking. These guys hang in there. They get just enough of everybody. And it's just another touchdown for the kid. And again, the biggest shame about Trey is he's so talented and he's so good, and we never got to see him operate for an entire season. And we'll never get to see it because he's going to go to the league. But this guy's a Doak Walker guy. This guy should be reviewed as one of the very greatest to ever play at Ohio State at tailback. He's up there with Zeke and Arch and Eddie. Just in terms of his tool set and what he does for the team. But your thoughts on that, Nevada? Because I love what he does, but watching Trey lower the shoulder is should be hung in the Louvre. Because again, a lot of these guys a lot of speed guys are not physical. They dodge contact, they try to hit the ground, they try to make guys miss. Trey is a guy that is an absolute factor back, and he'll do both. He's a combo guy. He'll punish you, and he'll try to make you miss. And that is terrifying when you're a defensive back or a linebacker trying to get him down. What are your thoughts about it?
No, I just look. I'm going to be honest. We're always trying to be honest and authentic with you guys. Defending Trey Henderson it was tiring, man. It was tiring because it was just I'd see these boorish attacks on the kid, and I'm like, man, look, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just such a horrible take. Because this kid's so freaking good, and I understand we're all frustrated with. But I don't get when Emeka's hurt this year. There's not one part of me that's frustrated with Emeka for being injured, or Cade Stover for having surgery, or look, it's a violent game played by violent guys, and people get hurt. So I'm never mad at somebody for being injured, but the Trey stuff was always weird. Enjoy him while he's here. I'm going to enjoy him one more week. I really hope they put him in bubble wrap this week, because there's just no reason to get anybody hurt against Minnesota. You don't need it. Win by 1. I don't care how many points you win by this week. I think it'll be a roll. But just get him on to Michigan, because he's a difference maker every time he touches the ball. And he can be – I think he's the X factor against Michigan, even more so than Marvin Harrison. I think Trey Henderson is the guy that he makes the offense go. He makes everything work, and get him the ball. Whether it's in space, people get him the ball in space. I don't get him the ball anywhere and just let him do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Trey's the key. You go up there, man, and it's cold and windy and snowy or rainy or whatever it could be in Ann Arbor. Again, when I played in 07, you guys can go watch this on YouTube. 1,000 years ago, we beat them in 07. It was freezing rain. It was the coldest thing I've ever experienced. It was 37 degrees. It did not snow. It rained the entire game. So Todd Beckman could literally not throw the ball because his hand was frozen. The ball was super slippery. It was terrible. So he might have completed 3 passes the whole day. And once he threw a pick, Jim Tressel, who I love like a father, did not call a pass in the second half. We ran ISO and we ran power every single play in the second half. And it was amazing because it was the most beautiful victory ever, because we did something so simple and we just mauled them up front. Absolutely mauled them. And Beanie, Beanie was the kind of guy, and again, if there's one thing I love in life, it's running backs that got jets. They get that elite sprinter speed, that track speed, that 100-meter speed. Because when they break through, if those safeties are creeping up and they hit the wrong spot, man, once Beanie got through the line, man, he's gone and nobody's hawking him down. And again, I just, there's nothing more beautiful in life than when you're blocking a guy and all of a sudden you hear the crowd go quiet and you see Beanie getting further and further away, and then you see the guys chasing him and they're getting further and further away, and you're just like, this is amazing. And that was what it was like in 7. So Beanie ran for 220 that game, and we literally could not throw the ball because it was so cold. But that was amazing. Go Bucks. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the 5. I think Sharon Moore was crying alligator tears because he knows he promised Jim Harbaugh he wouldn't get caught, and now he feels bad for bringing him down. I don't know what that was. Again, I went in on him pretty hard, but you know, I don't want to see Fat Albert on the sideline. I want to see Harbaugh. Nevada, was Sharon Moore crying alligator tears?
Yeah, the whole thing was just embarrassing. It was just,
Yeah.
you know, I, I, I mean, again, Jim Harbaugh's thing. Let's save our tears for stuff that's like legitimately sad. That this
Yes.
wasn't sad.
No, this was stupid.
This was stupid and it was earned. So spare me.
Yeah, exactly. Old Ben, appreciate you. Thank you for the 10. Am I stupid? Of course not. You're watching the show. You're actually brilliant. Or is beating UM schematically easy? If day coaches like he did against UJ, this is a 30-point win. I feel like Urban would just load the box and make their way less talented outside talent be us. Fantastic question for one, old Ben. I know I appreciate when I get this good stuff, but like I think schematically they are easy to go against. Like, you know, there's some teams when you watch them on offense, you're like, oh my God, that'd be a nightmare to go against. But like Michigan does like the 7-0 lineman unbalanced stuff. They do they're not a lot of motions, not a ton of shifts. You know, they'll bring in extra guys. Their skill guys are just not Michigan worthy in my opinion. They're outside guys. They don't have, like I talk about the guys that when I played, it was like they had Braylon, they had they had David Terrell in the late 90s. And these guys are like top 5 picks in the draft. You know, Braylon went 3. Braylon cooked. I mean, he was cooking Dustin Fox. It was crazy. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, can we get Ashton? Then we put Ashton on him. Ashton was able to shut him down a little bit. But I was watching Braylon versus Dustin. I was like, this is not very good for us. And then I remember, you know, they had Manningham, who I thought was awesome. Manningham was like one of the best high school players in Ohio history. And of course, he went to Michigan, which doesn't happen as much anymore. But he was a Harding guy. He played with Reese. But I think that they're easy to defend. I really do. Like if you said, Kirk, what's the scheme you'd like to defend? It'd be like, give me this power run stuff where they put everything in the box. And that's why I dog out when Ohio State was the one. They put 7 tight ends in there and run it in the A gap. I'm like, that's the easiest thing in the universe to defend. There's no motion, there's no shifts, there's no speed. You're taking Marvin Harrison off the field, which is crazy, especially in the red zone. But what are your thoughts, Nevada? Do you think that they are schematically easy to defend?
Well, like you said, I'd rather defend. I mean, you just have to account, the difference between them and us when we were running the, 7 linemen, everybody in the boxes. They actually have a quarterback that's a legitimate threat to run the ball, and we don't have that. So that makes their offense a little bit more complicated. But yeah, I'll take these teams all day long. Jim Knowles knows what he's doing. We've got the personnel to be able to handle this and be able to deal with this. And I'm looking forward to I think it's going to be a great challenge. And like I said, I think it's a multiple score win for Ohio State up there in Ann Arbor. That might be a hot take, but I'm calling it right now.
I totally agree. Well, we'll wrap this thing up. This has been a long one, a great one. We appreciate all you guys. Final thoughts, Nevada?
No, just going to be a fun week, and it's going to be fun watching this stuff happen. For keep an eye on NCAA, Big Ten stuff with Michigan, because it's there's interviews at Central Michigan today, and they're going to get down to the actual statement from Central Michigan regarding the caper about how did he get to the sideline, what was going on, who was implicated there. I would expect to see some suspensions / firings from Central Michigan as a result shortly as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that's going to be spicy as you dig into that. With that being said, as always, thank you guys. Massive show today. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for all of our super chatters. Super chatters always get answered first. Again, it's like touch tunes at the bar. If there's a song you really like and you're dying to hear it, you just hit that super chat, answer any question. We stop the show immediately as soon as we get it. So thank you guys as always. We love kicking it with you. And thanks for the fantastic questions. Because your questions, sometimes the show, we go into it, we kind of know what we're going to talk about. And you guys bring some fantastic insight. And we love answering that stuff. So thank you guys. With that being said, if you enjoy this content, leave us a like on the way out the door. Again, the likes are huge for us. We got about 300 likes. We got about 1,000 unions. So click that like on the way out the door. Thank you guys again. I think, here we go. I'll give my boy old Ben one last one. Carnell Tate doesn't go down. The kid fights. I think Carnell needs to play more. I think Julian Fleming needs to play less. And I like Julian Fleming. He's a nice kid, but Carnell's a difference maker. Thank you for that too, old Ben. But as always, thank you guys for kicking it with us. We're going to head on BuckeyeScoop.com right now. If you guys are not members of BuckeyeScoop.com, it's a fantastic Thanksgiving present, a fantastic Christmas. I mean, there's a better time in the universe to join right now because we have Michigan in 2 weeks, and the site is absolutely crushing it. It is on fire. It is the best club to be a part of for Ohio State football. So we'd love to have you guys on there as always. So we appreciate you guys. As always, like the episode, hit subscribe, send it to your friends too if they like Ohio State football. We appreciate all of them joining the party. We will be live around 7 again tomorrow. So we're just going to keep on cranking this stuff out. And so I hope you guys join us and kick it with us again. That being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks.